Hello, I'm Liz Duplessis, the Instructional Designer in Distance Education at SRJC. In this video, I present teaching tips for using the Canvas Gradebook. Let's get started. This video demonstrates grading schemes, entering scores of 0, the Treat Ungraded as 0 feature, muting an assignment, and how to hide total grades or display them as points. To get to your Canvas Gradebook, from the Course Navigation menu, click on Grades. You can hide the Course Navigation menu to expand your view. The Gradebook allows instructors to record grades and share them with students. Each column in the Gradebook represents an assignment, a graded discussion, or a graded quiz that has been published. By default, the student grade totals are measured as percentages and letter grades. You may have to scroll all the way to the right to find your total column, and you can move it to the front, which I'll go ahead and do. So now we see it here at the front. These letter grades are based on a course level setting. So let's go to the settings for the course and scroll down to Grading Scheme. Click View Grading Scheme and you will see a percent range for each letter grade. You also have the option to select another scheme or manage grading schemes. Let's go back to the gradebook. Both students have A grades even though the first student has skipped several assignments. So they've missed several assignments. You see these dashes still. And the reason for this is that this instructor has not changed these dashes to zeros for the missed assignments, and so they do not count in this student's grade total. If you hover over the cell, the top student's grade is being calculated as 111 points out of 113.5 points, whereas the bottom student's total possible points is 228. So in order to have those missed assignments count in this student's grade, you need to click on the cell and manually enter a 0 on your keyboard, and then you can hit enter or simply click away to have that 0 recorded. And now the student's total possible points has gone up by 10 points. It's now out of 123.5. And so you would need to do this for each missed assignment. There is a shortcut to turn all dashes to zeros for a given assignment. Hover over the column header for an assignment until you see this blue arrow. Click on it and select Set Default Grade. And this window will open. So if you want all dashes for that assignment to turn to 0, enter a 0 here on your keyboard. Do not overwrite already entered grades, or it will overwrite points awarded to other students with 0, and then go ahead and click Set Default Grade. And it alerts you that one student's score has been updated. If we had more students here, you would see all other dashes in this column turn to 0. And so now we're starting to see more point totals in this student's column. If you would like to excuse a student from an assignment, you can do that as well. So let's scroll on over and find another missed assignment. And we would like to excuse this grade from the student's total. Type EX for excused, and again click away, and it will save that, and it will not include those points in the student's total. As an instructor, you can preview total grades as if you had changed all dashes to zeros in the gradebook. So to do that, click on the grade settings and select Treat Ungraded as 0. And now you'll see that both student scores have dramatically dropped, and that's because this course total is being calculated as if all ungraded assignments, including all future assignments, as 0. So it doesn't really reflect an accurate grade mid-semester. At the end of the semester it might, because you would want all dashes to be counted as zeros at that point. But it does not change these dashes to zeros in the student view, and so the student will not see the score. Really, the only way for the student to see an accurate score mid-semester or at the end of the semester is for the instructor to enter zeros for missed assignments, or again use that set default grade to turn dashes to 0 for each assignment. So I would watch out for this treat ungraded as 0. It's purely a preview for the instructor. You must change dashes to zeros for final grades to be accurate. In the student's view of grades for a course, the student sees a total here in the upper right hand corner. It's a percentage and a letter grade. Again, the dash or these ungraded assignments are not being counted. The student can uncheck this box for calculate based only on graded assignments. So when they uncheck the box, it treats all dashes as zeros. And you can see now that the score has dropped dramatically to 8%. And again, that's because it is treating all dashes as zeros, including future assignments. So it's not really the best way to see an accurate grade mid-semester. Again, for the student to see a truly accurate grade, the instructor, so we'll go back to the instructor's view, needs to go in here and enter zeros for all missed assignments. And of course, leave future assignments as dashes so they are not counted. In some cases, instructors may wish to mute or hide grades temporarily for an assignment and then release them to all students at the same time. So this is called muting in Canvas. So let's say you're grading this citation test and you don't want students to see the grade until you've graded everyone's. So hover over the header cell, click the arrow, and mute the assignment. And you'll see this window open explaining what happens when you mute. What it really does is hide the scores and your comments from students until you unmute the assignment. And so let's mute this assignment. Now we see this icon that the assignment is muted. So whatever scores you enter in here. And this is a bonus because it's out of 0. All right. It has not been included in the student's total grade. So if you hover here, you say that this grade differs from the student view of the grade because some assignments are muted. So you see that mute icon. Do not use mute to exclude assignment scores from final grades because muting does not apply to the grades you transfer to the portal. Only use muting temporarily. When you're done grading, be sure to unmute the assignment. If you do not want students to be able to view their total grade in Canvas, you can hide the total grade from students. And this is in the course settings. So we'll go back to course settings, scroll all the way down to more options, and then check the box for hide totals in student grades summary and update course details. Go to the student view of grades and we'll refresh this page. Calculation of totals have been disabled. So students are not able to see any sort of total. They would have to add up their own points and calculate their grade. Of course, you can undo this if you go back to settings, go back to more options, and uncheck the box. Another option in the gradebook is to switch the total column from percentages to points. So let's go back to the gradebook. And I'm hovering over the header cell for total, selecting switch to points. And now you'll see total points. However, the letter grade still appears. And so if we go to the student view of grades and refresh it, they'll see the point values, so they'll see how many points, total points and points that they've earned, and a letter grade. So really the percentages are still there in the background. For more information on the Canvas Gradebook, click on Help for the Canvas Support Hotline and for a link to the Canvas Guides. There you will find an instructor guide as well as a video guide. If you go to the instructor guide, you'll see Canvas topics, including grades, and frequently asked questions about the gradebook. Thank you for watching this video.